Hey, it's so good to see you here again. Whether this is your first time joining me or you've been part of this community for a while, I just want to say welcome. I appreciate you. It means a lot that you're showing up, not just to learn about love and relationships, but to grow, to understand deeper connection, and to show up in your relationships as your most magnetic, confident, and authentic self. Now, I want to talk to you about something that's incredibly powerful and honestly so underestimated, and that is your touch. Not just any touch, but intentional, emotionally intelligent, heart-driven touch. Here's the truth. Most women don't realize just how magnetic their physical presence can be. We often think men are visual creatures, and while that's true to a degree, what really lingers in a man's mind isn't just how you look, it's how you make him feel. And one of the most potent, unforgettable ways you leave a lasting emotional and physical imprint is through touch. But not just any kind of touch. I'm not talking about touch that's purely sexual or touch that's performative. I'm talking about the kind of touch that disarms him, that cuts through the noise of his busy, overthinking brain, that makes him feel safe, wanted, and undeniably drawn to you in a way he can't even fully explain. Because when you know where to touch him, gently, intentionally, confidently, it creates a physical and emotional bond that most men rarely experience. It makes you feel like home to him. So in today's talk, I'm going to walk you through 6 specific places where your touch can have that kind of impact. Places that men have admitted, even if they don't always say it out loud, send shivers down their spine, make their heart beat faster, and most importantly, make them feel truly seen and desired. This isn't just about building attraction, it's about building intimacy. And when you know how to combine both, that's where the magic happens. So let's get into it. One of the most underrated yet incredibly powerful places to touch a man is his neck, particularly the back of his neck and the base of his head. Now I know what you're thinking. Really? His neck? But stay with me, because this isn't just about physical sensation, it's about psychological intimacy. See, the back of the neck is an incredibly sensitive area. It's one of those places we're not used to having touched, unless it's someone we really trust. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. When you gently place your hand there, it's not aggressive, it's not obvious, it's intimate. And intimacy is what so many men are starving for without even realizing it. Imagine this moment. You're hugging him from behind, or maybe you're just leaning in to whisper something into his ear. Your hand slides up and rests lightly at the base of his neck, or your fingers trace the edge of his hairline. That's not just touch, it's presence. It's emotional contact disguised as physical affection. And in that moment, what you're saying without saying a word is, I'm close to you, I trust you, you're safe with me. Men live so much of their lives in performance mode. They're taught to be strong, capable, unshakable. But that little space at the back of his neck, that's one of the rare places that reminds him he doesn't have to be all of that when he's with you. He can soften, he can breathe, he can just be. Now let's take it one step further. When you play with his hair at the nape of his neck, especially when you're lying together or after an intimate moment, it creates a nurturing feeling that he'll crave again and again. It's not just arousing, it's comforting. It's that duality of feminine energy that is both calming and electric at the same time. He feels wanted, he feels adored, and it's a place he can mentally return to long after you're gone for that same emotional hit. And here's the part most people miss. The neck is also a deeply vulnerable area. To allow someone to touch it is to lower your guard. So when you initiate that touch, especially in a way that's soft, slow, and confident, it communicates that you're not just touching his body, you're touching his trust. And when a man trusts you enough to let you into that space, emotionally and physically, you've created a bond that's far stronger than any clever text or sexy outfit could ever deliver. So yes, His neck, especially the back of it, is a secret portal into his deeper emotions. And when you touch it with love, with presence, and with gentle assurance, he won't just feel it in his body, he'll feel it in his heart. The lower back is one of those places that seems so simple, so overlooked, and yet, when touched with intention, it can send an unexpected wave of electricity through a man's entire body. What makes it so powerful isn't just the nerve endings or the physical sensation, it's the emotional undertone that comes with the gesture. It's the way your hand lands there, the why behind your touch, and the confidence with which you do it. Picture this, you're walking beside him in public. You laugh, lean in, and gently place your hand on the small of his back. Maybe it's just a brief guide through a crowded room, or maybe it's your way of subtly pulling him closer. It's not an overtly sexual move. It's not something dramatic, but to him, it lingers, not just on his skin, but in his mind. Why? Because the lower back is a place most men don't expect to be touched unless they're in close, trusted proximity with someone. It's a deeply grounding area. When you place your hand there, you're not just saying, I'm here, you're also saying, I've got you. And let me tell you, those 4 words, even unspoken, have more seduction power than you think. This touch conveys presence and quiet control. It makes a man feel held in a way that's masculine, not diminished. It's not dominant, but it is intentional. It taps into that primal part of him that enjoys being claimed. Not in a possessive way, but in a way that says, I want you right here, close to me. Now let's take this into a more intimate moment. Imagine you're lying beside each other, maybe after a long day, and you reach around to rest your hand on the curve of his lower back. Maybe you draw slow circles with your fingertips, or maybe your palm just rests there while you talk or lie in silence. That kind of touch communicates calm, sensuality, and a steady presence. It tells him that this moment is about connection, not just chemistry. And yes, the lower back can be a zone that sparks desire too. But the real magic is how safe and grounded it makes him feel in your presence. You become the woman who not only ignites him physically, but anchors him emotionally. And that balance, that's what keeps him coming back, not just for your body, but for the way you make his entire world feel a little more secure, a little more exciting, and a whole lot more alive. It's amazing how something as simple as a hand on the small of his back can be so powerful. But when you do it with confidence, with a soft touch, and with the kind of emotional awareness that most people overlook, you'll leave a mark that no man forgets. Now, let's talk about a place that often goes unnoticed in everyday intimacy, but is in truth one of the most sensitive and alluring spots on a man's body, his thighs. Here's the thing. Most people think attraction lives only in the obvious areas, his chest, his arms, maybe his jawline. But the truth is, if you really want to capture a man's attention in a way that sends subtle shock waves through his system, you touch the places he doesn't expect, but absolutely craves. His inner and upper thighs are exactly that. The thighs are powerful because they're close enough to be intimate, but far enough to leave room for anticipation. They sit right on the edge between comfort and desire. And when you touch them, especially in a relaxed, slow, unhurried way, what you're creating is tension. Not the uncomfortable kind, but the good kind. The kind that builds chemistry without a single word being said. Picture a moment. You're sitting close to him, maybe watching a movie, maybe talking quietly on the couch. You laugh, reach over, and your hand rests on his thigh, just above the knee. You don't squeeze, you don't rush, you just rest it there. That simple act tells him, I'm connected to you, but it also says, I know exactly what I'm doing. And here's what most women miss. Men aren't just physical, they're emotional beings, especially in the moments leading up to physical intimacy. That light touch on his thigh, It's not just about arousing him. It's about inviting him into a deeper moment. It's the kind of touch that says, I trust myself. I'm in control of my energy, and I'm letting you feel it 1 inch at a time. There's also something deeply masculine about this kind of contact for him. His thighs are strong, solid, symbols of stability and strength. So when your hand lands there gently, confidently, it tells him he's safe to let go of control, that you're tuned into him, that you see his strength, but you also know how to soften him. What makes this even more powerful is timing. You don't have to touch his thigh every time you're together. You save it for the moments that matter, because when it's rare, it's memorable. When it's intentional, it lingers. You create a pattern in his mind that says, when she touches me there, it means something. And before long, he's looking forward to that moment. He starts associating your touch with a feeling of warmth, of tension, of chemistry he can't quite name, but definitely wants more of. So if you want to get inside a man's head and stay there, don't underestimate the power of a soft, lingering hand on his thigh. It speaks volumes without ever needing to speak at all. There's something uniquely powerful about a woman who knows how to touch a man's face, and not just in the heat of passion, but in the quiet moments, the ones that don't scream for attention, but somehow become the ones he remembers the most. His face, and more specifically his jawline, holds an emotional and physical sensitivity that most women overlook. But the ones who get it, the ones who really understand connection, know exactly how to use it to their advantage. A man's jaw is a symbol. It represents masculinity, strength, and structure. It's one of the places he leads with when he walks into a room, and often one of the first things women notice. But what he doesn't expect is for you to reach up softly, confidently, and trace it with your fingertips. Not out of neediness, not to pull him in, but as a way of saying, I see you, I admire you, and I'm not afraid to be this close. This kind of touch is incredibly grounding. Imagine you're sitting across from him, talking late into the night. Maybe he's just shared something vulnerable. You look at him, really look at him, and you gently brush his jaw with your thumb. That single gesture tells him you're safe, you're respected, you're desired. It's subtle, but it melts through all the bravado he's had to carry throughout the day. And yes, there's undeniable physical chemistry in this area too. The jawline and the face are sensitive, filled with nerve endings that respond immediately to soft, intentional contact. When you place your hand on his cheek while kissing him, or when you cup his face during a quiet moment, it creates this electric pause. Everything else falls away. Time slows down. And he's not just thinking about the physical touch. He's wondering how he got so lucky to be with someone who makes intimacy feel this natural. Touching a man's face is intimate in a way that words can't always replicate. It requires vulnerability from both of you. But when you do it with confidence and presence, it flips a switch in his mind. You're not just the woman he's physically attracted to. You become the woman who sees him. The one who doesn't just want his body, you want him. And here's a little bonus most people never consider. When you reach for a man's face, especially in the middle of a conversation or as you're walking by, it creates anticipation. It builds connection in a non-sexual moment, which makes the sexual ones even more powerful. Because what you're showing him is that desire doesn't always come with an agenda. It can come with affection, with real closeness. So the next time you're near him, don't hesitate. Place your hand gently on his face, trace the line of his jaw, hold his gaze a little longer. Let that moment be the one he replays in his head later, wondering how someone so soft could make him feel something so strong. There's something almost primal about the way a man reacts when a woman touches his chest. It's not just about physical arousal, it's about emotional vulnerability and deep psychological wiring. You see, a man's chest is where he carries a lot of his identity. his strength, his posture, his presence. It's all rooted there. It's his shield. So when you touch that part of him, you're not just reaching for his body, you're reaching for the part of him that he protects the most. Now, let's be real. There's something irresistibly sexy about resting your hand on a man's chest, especially when you do it in a way that's relaxed, confident, and completely unforced. Maybe it's during a hug or while you're laying beside him. Maybe you're just walking by and you place your hand over his heart for a moment, saying nothing, but saying everything. That kind of touch, it bypasses logic and hits him straight in the nervous system. Says, I trust you, I feel safe with you, and I want to be close to you. Here's the part most people miss. Men don't often get touched in ways that feel nurturing. So when you gently press your palm against his chest or slowly run your hand across it, you're giving him something he rarely receives. It's not just flirtation, it's affirmation, it's presence. And in a world where men are constantly expected to perform, compete, and stay stoic, your touch becomes a quiet invitation for him to breathe, relax, and just be. And it's not only the emotional effect, it's physical too. The chest is highly responsive, especially around the sternum and collarbone. A slow circular motion there, or the light scratch of your nails while you're snuggled up with him sends shivers down his spine. It builds anticipation without being too obvious. He may not say anything in the moment, but internally, he's lit up. He's wondering how someone so soft and intuitive can make him feel that disarmed and that turned on. Even just resting your head on his chest while placing your hand over his heart can stir feelings of intimacy that go far beyond the physical. It's a subconscious message that says, I feel emotionally close to you. And when a man feels emotionally safe and physically desired at the same time, that's when real connection happens. That's when his walls start to come down. That's when he starts looking at you not just as a fling or a fantasy, but as a woman who gets him on a deeper level. So don't underestimate this area. The chest isn't just muscle or surface, it's a symbol. A soft touch here doesn't scream for attention, but it gets remembered. And if you want to be unforgettable to him, it's these small, intimate, confident touches that make all the difference. So let's take a breath here, because what we've just uncovered isn't just about technique, it's about connection. True, magnetic, skin-tingling connection. Each place we've talked about, the back of his neck, his lower back, his thighs, his hands, his chest, and that sensitive space near his ears, isn't just a turn on for him physically. It's a gateway to making him feel something deeper when he's with you, to making your touch linger in his memory long after the moment has passed. And I want you to remember this. It's not about being perfect or seductive in some movie-like way. It's about intention. It's about the way your presence, your energy, and your touch make him feel emotionally connected and completely drawn to you without even knowing why. Because when a man finds a woman whose touch doesn't just feel good, but means something, he doesn't just crave her body, he craves her. He craves the woman who makes him feel safe, excited, respected, and completely wanted at the same time. So my challenge for you today is this. Don't wait for the right moment to use this. Don't overthink it. The next time you're with him, let your hands say what your words might not. Use touch as your secret language. Whether you're brushing your fingers over his chest, tracing his jaw, or just slipping your hand into his while watching a movie, do it with heart, do it with presence. If you love this video and you want more real, powerful advice on how to connect with men in a way that creates lasting passion and deep emotional intimacy, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for weekly videos, and turn on the bell so you never miss out on these tools. And in the comments, I'd love to know, which of these 6 places have you noticed make a man melt the most? Or, if you're brave, tell me which one you're going to try next. I'll be reading them all. You deserve a love that doesn't just feel hot, but feels real. Go out there and create it.